In the NBA, all the talk is around Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs building the future dynasty. With a lot of young teams in the NBA, who's up next? And are the Jazz one of them? All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the NBA. Now, a lot of people who are on the internet, especially with Victor Wembanyama joining the Spurs, they're talking about how, Coach Pop is going to basically be building the next Spurs dynasty out there in San Antonio. There's a great video by Mike Korzemba, and we'll link to it down below, where he's basically breaking down the potential for the next up-and-coming dynasty team. He did not mention the Utah Jazz as one of the potential young teams that could be up next. Do we think the Utah Jazz have a potential to be one of these young teams that could be the next NBA dynasty? So an NBA dynasty is 3+ titles or more, basically.
Correct.
There have been 6 total dynasties since the merger of the NBA and ABA. Do you know what those are?
Golden State Warriors, LA Lakers twice.
Once under Magic and under Kobe.
Magic and then Kobe. Okay.
Yep.
The Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, and the Spurs.
So those are the 6 NBA dynasties. Those are people who won 3 titles or more with the same team pretty much sticking together the whole time. So in that video, Mike breaks down the blueprint how to build a dynasty. Number 1, a star player that has been drafted and developed by their current franchise. Number 2, we have 2 current All-Stars or future Hall of Fame players that stick around. And then the 3rd is stars have to be in place with the star player's rookie season. With that being said, are the Utah Jazz currently in a position to be one of the young great teams in the NBA that could potentially be the next dynasty?
My answer is yes. There's a few unknowns because obviously that potential player. We don't have any star players right now that are currently, outstanding.
Right. We don't know
that were drafted by the franchise.
Right. We don't have our Kobe. We don't have our Jordan.
Right.
We don't know who that is currently yet.
But I think I do know who that player is.
Okay. All right.
And I think it's Keyonte George. The dude's 20 years old. He is currently shooting 35% from 3. Okay. In the 4 games that he's played so far, he's already played more minutes this season than Chris Dunn and Colin Sexton. Both players that in some of our previous videos, we were really thinking we're going to get the majority of minutes based on reasons like they needed to add to their trade value and that kind of stuff to kind of see if they were worth what they're paying these guys to be on the roster. Keyonte George is already playing more minutes than those guys per game. He's already one of the first or second guys off the bench. He has this massive potential upside. He's shown these great flashes of passing. He has the ability to lead the offense. But the game just needs to slow down a little bit for Keyonte George. If there's anyone on our roster right now that is our key piece, it is Keyonte George.
Perfect. So in this scenario where the Jazz have the blueprint, Keyonte George is our star player. Step 2, we need 2 current All-Stars or future Hall of Famers that stick around long-term.
I think Lauri Markkanen is absolutely going to be with the Jazz long-term. He doesn't care for the big market teams. The Jazz are going to pay him all the money he could ever want in his whole life.
Right.
He's absolutely fantastic. He's already been an NBA All-Star.
Starter.
He will be a Hall of Fame player when Lauri Markkanen's career is done.
Ooh,
in my
hot
opinion.
take. That's a
absolutely.
Good take. I like that.
Absolutely. He's just that good, though. You know what I mean? Like, he's been that good since he was drafted. When he came over here and played for Arizona, he was that good of a player. He continues to be dominant on both sides of the floor. Up to this season so far, he's a plus 33 in minutes he's on the floor. He is the reason the Jazz motor goes, and the Jazz will go as he goes in the next couple of games. So look out for Lauri. He is that guy as part number 1.
Okay. Who do we got for part number 2?
Part number 2, in my opinion, is most likely going to be Jordan Clarkson. I think he's the next player that we have that he's kind of all-star fringe player. He was 6th man of the year. This is just my opinion, but I think Jordan Clarkson is also a potential Hall of Fame player, especially with his Filipino background. He's fun to watch. He is a great player. He is a little bit older. Jordan Clarkson's 31. He's on maybe the tail end of his career. But I think careers are way longer than they used to be. You know what I mean? Careers typically end at 34, 35 years old, but look at LeBron at 38, 39. Jordan Clarkson has a lot of really good basketball left in him. I think he has the ability to continue to kind of mold this team together, and they can be one. And I think he's piece number 2 to that, potential all-star kind of player that we would need to help lead that team.
Okay. Both Lauri Markkanen and Jordan Clarkson were both on the team during the rookie season of KG3.
Yep.
So both of them would fall into that category. Now, do you have any outliers? Like, do you think any of these potential rookies right now, do you think any of them have all-star potential?
Ochai shows a ton of flash. He's got to get his shooting in check. He's still just he's only shooting like 27% from three right now, which is just killing him.
Honestly, I think Kessler's probably got the best shot of being a future,
and that's probably the best next choice would be Walker Kessler. Absolutely, especially because he could potentially be an NBA Defensive Player of the Year type player, right? Which puts you in that upper echelon, which qualifies you for all that big money. So yeah, I think Walker Kessler is probably a great pick as far as some of this younger talent that's with the team.
Yeah, so that's basically kind of where we're sitting there as far as the potential for the Utah Jazz to be one of the potential teams to be one of the next young teams that are in position to become a future dynasty. I don't want to spoil the video for Mike, but the Utah Jazz definitely weren't on it. We'd just like to make the case for the Utah Jazz to see if they would fit on there.
I think they definitely got some work to do. We've all watched them play this year. This team's good. They're going to be better. They need games to slow down a little bit for some of these young players so they can kind of find a rhythm. But this team's got a ton of potential and a ton of upside, and I really do think they could potentially be the next dynasty in the NBA.
Absolutely above it. Let me go ahead and throw some cold water on this.
I'm going to get a drink while you do that.
This is going out to every Jazz fan, and I guarantee you every single one of you out there, including my cohort sitting right next to me, is going to feel the same way about this. I do not care about a future dynasty. I do not care. If I hear Danny Ainge, if I hear the Smith organization, if I hear Coach Hardy, if I hear anybody in the front office of the Utah Jazz come to us and talk to us about a team that's built to be competitive for the long term, Utah needs to get a championship. They need a ring first. Let's get one, and then we'll worry about the dynasty after that.
Even Pat McAfee wants us to win one.
Right, exactly. Courtside at the Jazz game. Let's put this in the comments down below. Jazz fans, answer this question for me in the comments down below. If the Utah Jazz were to go all into the trade deadline and somehow win a title this year, but they didn't make the playoffs for the next 4 years, would you take that?
Absolutely.
Did you make that deal?
I would take that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
AJ votes absolutely. I'll put it in the comments below.
I don't think there's a Jazz fan that would argue that point with me. You got to get a ring first, and then you can worry about that. You want to build a dynasty? Great. But
got to get one before you can get 2 or 3.
Exactly. So we need to focus on the one. Sorry to change sports on us. We want to do the Florida Marlins option or the Toronto Raptors option, where we basically just go get the expiring asset that can push us over the hill, get us over the hump.
Yep, we'll take it.
Let's take it.
Let's take it.
I don't care about a dynasty. I care about getting one ring. Let's start there first.
Yeah.
Am I alone on that island there?
No, sir. No, sir. That is an island I will swim with you to.
Okay. All right. Once again, Utah Jazz fans, let us know in the comments down below. I know we did a lot of breakdown there on the Utah Jazz potentially being one of the next dynasties.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, let us know.
Let's hear it. I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below. So once again, folks, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure if you are enjoying this content, it's something you like, make sure you hit that subscribe button for us. It really helps out the channel.
I cannot believe you just slammed me with that. All this preparation I did, and you just hit me with it.
It was perfect, right?
It was absolutely.
Tell me that wasn't great, right?
I love it.
Once again, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, the full episode of covering everything we talked about in podcast format is available on YouTube as a video underneath our playlist labeled podcast. It's also available audio only wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you share it. We appreciate all the engagement with you guys. Keep commenting down below. We love it.
Absolutely. We're on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to be giving away the first $500 in AdSense revenue back to our subscribers. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that. With that said, my name is Darren. This is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.